Hey everybody, I'm JimClassic, and you are watching Geekin. And for today's video, I would like to talk about the Transformers Studio Series Gamer Edition number 11, Voyager Class Skywarp. Now, I've talked about a couple of these, literally only two of these, Optimus Prime and Ratchet at this point, even though I do have a few others. But I recently picked this guy up at one of my local Walmarts, and I figured I'd give this figure a shot. I didn't buy Starscream. I already have the, X Planet Mars figure, the third-party one. I just never got around to getting Starscream, but I heard nothing but good things about the Starscream mold, and I figured I'd give Skywarp a shot. He is my favorite Seeker out of the original three, so it just seemed logical that I'm going to get this guy over Starscream. That being said, let's talk about the box before opening this guy up. Starting with the box, we see a rectangle. No, but there we still have the open window concept that Hasbro is no longer doing, but this is, last season's box. I don't know. I only got this guy like a month ago. But, we see the figure right there in the package. I can touch him. I can get my grubby hands all over him. We have a nice art here of what Skywarp looked like in the War for Cybertron / Fall of Cybertron game. Transformers Studio Series Gamer Edition Skywarp number 11. Autobot symbol, Transformers. Specifically War for Cybertron. On the side, profile shot. It's the same picture. It's the same picture, just mirrored. On this side, same picture, but full body shot. On the back, we see lens flare glare. There we go. We see a product shot, robot mode, vehicle mode, backdrop, weapons, accessories, game inspired, scale, detail, and backdrop. I'm not really sure scale is a factor anymore with these guys, but whatever. This is my personal opinion, looking at Megatron. But anyway, that is Skywarp in the box. Let's open this guy up and see what he is all about. And here we have Studio Series Gamer Edition Skywarp out of the package. And yeah, I guess he's okay. I mean, I've been fiddling around with this guy for a little bit, and I don't know. I think he's just kind of okay. Like, Gamer Edition Optimus, I really loved. Ratchet, I really enjoyed. I never did a review of Megatron or Bumblebee, but I think, Bumblebee I thought was okay. Megatron I was disappointed with, and I would say the Gamer Edition, figures have been a bit of a mixed bag for me. And I was told that the Starscream mold was so good and everybody liked it, and it just kind of was hyped up, and I just never bought it. And then I guess I just missed my window because he's no longer in the stores. But then Skywarp showed up, and I'm like, well, he's my favorite Seeker, so I'll buy Skywarp. And he's okay. I'm just not blown away by him. I don't know. I mean, he looks like Fall of Cybertron, War for Cybertron, Skywarp. He's got some, nice purple. He's got some nice silver paint apps here. He's got that really angular, scowling face. Some tiny wings. That is not good wing silhouette. I mean, part of the Seekers is to have that really cool silhouette, and he needs bigger wings. But then again, that's kind of how the game model looked. So, but yeah, let me talk about Skywarp before I continue any further complaints that I have about the figure. Well, I mean, he's definitely a beefy boy. He is definitely has got some interesting proportions. He's got that wide chest. He's got those big boots, tiny wings. He's got some weird looking proportions, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I mean, it is accurate to the game model. That is what I can say. It is accurate to the game model, and that's kind of how he looked. Skywarp here doesn't have as many robot greeblies as, let's say, Ratchet. And because Ratchet was covered in mechanical detail, there's a lot of smooth lines here on Skywarp. I mean, you got some, vent details and stuff like that. but it's mostly just smooth panel lines with like the occasional vents or divots, and I guess it's a nice little contrast by comparison to how busy Ratchet was. But it's got robot details, but you're not being hit with them all that much. And everything looks clean. The paint job looks nice silver paint and everything. It's silver, purple, and this charcoal color. Personally, I prefer Skywarp to be black and purple. I don't think charcoal and purple is a great color combination for the character, but again, it's accurate to the game, I think. And that's kind of it. I mean, the paint apps are clean. The robot mode is solid. Skywarp definitely passes the shake test. I mean, I'm shaking with one leg here. He's on a ball joint, universal joint, but I mean, he's not floppy. Nothing's falling apart. So, this figure does feel durable. It does feel solid. And, I guess for something as this High Moon Studios design goes, all right, Skywarp does look good. I think he is good. I just don't think this is a great design. But, whatever. How he looks and how the figure feels and interacts and plays are two different things, two different sets of opinions. But let's get to articulation. He's got a ball-jointed head. Now, it is kind of difficult for me to squeeze my big fat fingers through these shoulder pieces, but you can get him to a full 360. He can look up pretty high, so you can get him into maybe a flying pose. And that's awesome. He can't really look down. He really can't look down all that much. He does have fully rotation in the shoulders, can't go out that far, does have a bicep swivel. He does have a double bend at the elbow. That looks kind of weird though. And then swiveling wrists. Waist rotation, which is really good because most Seekers don't, but the rotation is stopped by the hips jutting out. Speaking of hips, we have universal joints here. He can extend out that far. He can kick that high. He can kick back that high. He does have a thigh swivel right there. And this is not a double knee joint, but it is over 90 degrees, which is really nice. And he does have a fairly decent ankle pivot. I mean, I have seen better. And if you really want to count this, which I don't think I would, but if you want to, he does have some toe articulation right there, but that's probably more for the transformation more than it is for anything else. But yeah, he stands well, especially with hooves like these. Skywarp stands really well. Oh yeah, I kind of forgot to show off the backdrop. I'm not a big fan of this one personally. I find them very hit or miss for me, and I think this one's a bit of a miss because it's just dark and it doesn't really highlight an iconic scene or anything like that, or at least not in my opinion. And it's going into the recycling can. Okay, it's not staying. When it comes to Skywarp's weapons, he comes with two. Now, full disclosure, this is a reshoot because when I demonstrated the rocket launcher, I had it on backwards, and I'm just like, oh, this doesn't really look very good, and it's not blast compatible, and I had it completely backwards. But anyway, this is the rocket launcher, and same with all of the other Gamer Edition figures. You take off the right arm, and this 5mm slot right here, this port, this is where you attach it to the stub. And it doesn't point this way, it points that way. So I guess it kind of looks like that. Or you can kind of go underslung like that. And I'm not gonna lie, regardless. See, I had it like this originally. And I think I actually like this a little bit better than I like that. But I still don't like this rocket launcher on Skywarp. I think it's very ill-befitting a Seeker. It just looks clumsy the way it's set up. I don't remember if this is how it looked in the game. I haven't played the game in years. But I don't like the way this looks. But it does have 4 other 5mm ports for blast compatibleness, so you can at least squeeze 2 on there, and we can be launching a few missiles towards Autobots, and that's not so bad. Believe me, I'm always happy to see blast compatible weapons. I just think this is a pretty clumsy thing, and I'm just not a fan of it. Anyway, back to the review where I talk about the mace. I haven't tried this out yet, but let's try the 5mm post, see if he holds it. And yeah, okay. So Skywarp can hold this gun, even though it's a little bit of a rinky-dink post. So, if you don't want to remove the arm, he can carry it like so. Personally speaking, I love my Seekers, and I'm sorry. I think it's a missed opportunity not to do the traditional Seeker guns. At the very least. If Hasbro's not going to give us Seeker guns, find a place to put a 5mm port. Like, look, we could probably put a 5mm port there and right there for Seeker guns. I don't think there'd be too many other places. The shoulders and the biceps, it's all very thin plastic, so there wouldn't be any room for a 5mm port. And even if it's not like game accurate, I get it. I understand that argument. But Seekers look best with their null ray guns and their arm mounted weapons. And this rocket launcher, cool as it might look, is not befitting that of a Seeker. I'm sorry. But it does come with another weapon. And it is this meaty looking Energon mace. I mean, look at this thing. It is, first off, again, this probably should be clear plastic. It even looks like, look at the details on this thing. It looks like it's made out of Energon cubes with like the spiked superstructure built around these Energon cubes. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. Like, this would have, imagine how this would have looked if this internal piece was clear plastic and this was just painted silver. This thing would have looked amazing. But it does come with a handle, come with a 5mm posts right here. It does split in half, and you might be asking yourself, does this slide in the hand like Ratchet's axe? And no, it does not. It's not designed to slide through those hands. So, but it does have a 5mm post right there, and he holds it like that. Why? Who holds their mace like this? Who holds their mace? Who holds their blunt? This is not a... Oh, yeah, this does count as a blunt instrument, I think. But who holds their weapon at the very, very, very bottom of the handle? I don't like this. I'm sorry. I know people liked this mold, and I like the mold. This weapon is so poorly conceived. Like, it should be held like maybe here, like where this post is. Fuck. Let's just do this. That makes more sense. That makes more sense that he's holding it in the middle like this. But yeah, it should be held like right here, not at the very. I don't like this. This is like Optimus, Ratchet, Megatron had the same problem. I don't like Megatron's grip either. But like this is not good, and whatever. And then again, I guess you could just post that to that, remove this, have that. I guess that's your blast compatible piece right there. This is your blast compatible area. I don't know. I don't. Oh. Hold on. You gotta be kidding me. Why? That. Oh, come on. Use your imagination, folks. Wouldn't that have been cool? I mean, I know I was complaining how that looks big and bulky, but like that, had this been a 5mm slot, that would have been cool. Imagine just getting this guy in some cool pose with that attached to his arm. Hasbro, what are you doing? Who's designing this stuff? Who? I want names, damn it. Who's designing this stuff? That would have been incredible. I think I would have taken sins off for having having this been possible. Like that, I would have liked that, but I don't know. I don't know who designed this. Like I said, I know I've said this before. I'm pretty sure the Gamer Edition line is on a budget here, and I think corners were cut. That's my personal opinion, and I haven't even transformed this guy. And I'm going on about weapons and stuff like that, and weapon placement and how he holds them and things like that. I'm done. I'm sorry. I don't want this to be a negative video, but I just have complaints about this guy. And mostly it's his accessories and how they're handled. And just some quick comparisons. We got Skywarp here with Studio Series Gamer Edition Megatron and the Generations Fall of Cybertron Kickback, which, you know, this is not a... It's not... What can I say? This is not... Obviously, this is not a review of Megatron, but... Is it just me, or does Megatron look really small and puny compared to Skywarp here? Like, Skywarp looks beefy and brawny and wide-chested, and he might even be just a little bit taller than Megatron. He needs to be bigger. That's all I'm going to say about that, because this is not a review of him. I didn't do a review of him. I'm not planning on doing a review of him. He needs to be bigger. I don't even think Optimus Prime is bigger than... Look, hold on. Just... Wow, no. Really? Huh. They're about the same size. Weird. Weird, man. Okay, well, either way, I still think he should be bigger. My opinion has not been changed on that. Anyway, here we have, comparison with Skywarp and Kickback. And this is still a good figure. This is from, like, 2012, I think? 2013? This is a good figure. Like, when Studio Series Gamer Edition gets to this guy, I don't even think they need to make a new mold. I think they just need to re-release this guy. And, like, he's great the way he is. Anyway, everyone stands pretty well. Everyone stands pretty solid. And, with Skywarp, he looks good with Kickback. He looks great with Kickback. That is what I am going to say. I mean, anyway, that's enough about that. There are other figures I would like to compare Skywarp to real quick, and just for the fun of it, here is the Generations Fall of Cybertron Skywarp and the Siege Skywarp. And, I'm not gonna lie, between these three, I like that guy better. But, there's something to be said about this 2012 figure. Like, he's got, like, almost the same level of articulation. I think the only thing he's really missing is a waist rotation. I think he's got everything else this guy's got. Plus, he's got cooler weapons. But, the black and the purple here, this actually might be the same shade of purple. It's pretty darn close. But, like, the black and gray and the purple on this guy just pop, where I don't think the colors pop on this guy, because the charcoal gray, I think, kind of mutes everything, but that gray and that black on him just pop, man. They pop. Of course, there is one last comparison I would like to make with Gamer Edition Skywarp, and that would be the Planet X Mars figure, which is kind of like supposed to be the masterpiece version of the character. And look at that. That is how you do a War for Cybertron Seeker. Look at this puppy right here. I mean, again, he has many of the visual issues that I kind of have with this guy, but this figure is just too damn cool just not to love. And also, this is how you hold a mace. You kind of hold it right there. I know I can't let that go. You don't hold your weapon. Uh-oh, I don't want to break the thumb. Let's be careful. You don't hold your weapon like that. Okay? All right, Hasbro, if you're watching, you don't hold your weapon like that. You gotta, if you're gonna give your character a melee weapon and a mace, come on, give it a decent grip, for crying out loud. But I mean, just look at that. I might never, ever buy the Gamer Edition Starscream just to keep him different. Like, I might buy, I very well might buy Thundercracker for the Gamer Edition and just keep Mars Starscream just to make him like the big boss of the Seekers, because I kind of like this. Anyway, all right. I think that's enough. That's enough of this beautiful guy. Let's get this guy into vehicle mode. All right. So I usually like to start by opening up the fins there at the bottom, closing up the toe hooves, and the inner part of the calf opens up like so. And we're just kind of combine towards this thing out. There we go. Now it gets stuck from time to time. And just kind of position it up there, kind of halfway into the thigh. This will tab into place. We do the exact same thing here. Pop that out. There we go. And tap that in. Is it tabbed in? There we go. That's kind of that. I guess this is unofficial Viacon mode right there. Anyway. All right. Now, the backpack can be a real pain in the butt, but it kind of accordions out like so, and we're going to straighten up these wings, and these vents here and here are going to hinge out. They kind of get in the way of the rear fins, but it rotates, it untabs, it folds. It's kind of a nuisance in my personal opinion. And then we open up this piece as well and fold out the spikes. They're really supposed to be this part, but, you know, unfolded to full greatness. See, it kind of hides the other one, like so. And we're going to rotate the tail fins like so. Now, we're going to, these things here are on a mushroom peg. We're just going to do that and do that and get that ready. Now, this actually gave me no trouble at all, but when I transformed this guy back into robot mode, each time it just put up a fight. So I don't know. This time it's behaving well on camera, but the other few times it just fought me. But whatever. It's conflict-free today. Now, this is going to untab here, and we're going to open up the canopy. You see the nose cone in there. We're going to flip out the nose cone. I think the nose cone and the clear plastic is the clear. First off, clear plastic. I'm really happy to see that. I forgot to mention that for robot mode when I was complaining about the maze, but yeah, I'm happy to see clear plastic on Skywarp here. But it's also a soft rubbery plastic, which I guess it will protect this thing from breaking, since clear plastic is brittle. So maybe this might help with the longevity of clear plastic toys going future. I don't know. But we're going to unhinge the neck, rotate the head, and put the head inside the cockpit, close up the cockpit, and straighten everything up there. Now the arms are on a double hinge here. Kind of goes like that. And crud. There we go. And then we rotate the bicep and do the double hinge there, and it kind of goes like that. Do it again. There we go. There we go. And then double hinge. Double hinge. That way. And these two pieces are supposed to tab together. They don't really tab together very well, in my opinion. This thing kind of fights me a little bit. Like, I'm following the instructions. Everything seems to line up otherwise. Like, there's nothing else that suggests I'm doing anything wrong. There's little slots here and there, and a tab into there and there, and just nothing seems to be really cooperating all that great. But it just keeps popping out. And why, I don't know, but it seems to be beyond my control. So anyway, now that the arms are there, we get the, I guess what is this, the fuselage, and it kind of goes back like that. Now it's going to tab the back of the legs there, and I think that's it. I think that's where it tabs in. So it's going to lock all that stuff into place. And, yep, here we have... It's a thing. Yeah, no, it's jet mode, all right. Okay, well, look, I'm trying not to be Mr. Negativity. This is not my favorite vehicle mode. I'd be lying if I said I was head over heels about this. And I think it's bowing a little bit, but everything's tabbed into place, so I'm not quite sure. But yeah, so this is the jet mode. It's not exactly a Tetrajet. I definitely prefer the Tetrajet over this, but you know, it kind of looks more like a rocket ship. It looks more like a rocket ship with some stubby reverse Cyclonus wings. But I don't know. I would say the robot mode is more cohesive than the vehicle mode, and it only gets worse when you add weapons to it. Now, with just about every Transformers figure, you can attach the weapons to the vehicle mode. Don't know why you'd want to, but you know, 5mm port there. You can put the gun right there, and you can put the mace right there. And yeah, this just looks clumsy. Yeah, I don't like this. We'll never speak to that again. We'll never speak of that again. But you know, he does have several 5mm ports, and you can, you know, deck him out in some thrusters right there, which is cool. I guess you can make it look like he's exploding a little bit. I guess even some of these screw pegs. No, it won't work there. But you know, I guess he's blowing up, or I suppose you could even put them on the wingtips and make them look like guns. Oh, I kind of like that. Yeah, okay, that kind of works a little bit. These aren't meant for the blast effects, but it kind of works. So it looks like he's shooting. I like this. All right, I kind of dig that. That actually, you know, had the wings been longer and pointier, I think I would have liked this a little bit better. That's kind of a good look if this had been part of the wing, part of the silhouette of the ship. But yeah, you know, it's like I said, it's not a Tetrajet. I definitely prefer a Tetrajet over this design. But again, this is what the High Moon Studios ship looked like. I can't say I hate it because it's not a Tetrajet. But I don't like it because I don't think it's a very cohesive vehicle mode. But it is accurate to the High Moon Studios design, or at least, you know what? What we're going to do, again, it's been years since I've played this game. Here's a picture of Skywarp here, and I'm going to have a picture right here of the High Moon Studios model to compare it to. And maybe we can, you know, then maybe I can make a better judgment call on this. But again, you know, this thing is mostly holding together well. It tabbed well together. But there are some things that are not tabbing well. The underarm carriage here in the front is not really holding together too well. And I just, you know, it's a little gappy in some areas. You can kind of see through it in some areas. And, I don't really like that. I would say this is kind of an incomplete vehicle mode in that sense. But otherwise, you know, it's holding together. Well, all right, that was okay. That was me being. I didn't entirely hold together, but again, this is a weak point anyway. So yeah, in spite of the fact that I don't like the way it looks, it's a solid jet mode. It's holding together well, and you know, you definitely see more purple here in this vehicle mode, and I like I like the purple of Skywarp. So you know, that's kind of okay with me. And the Decepticon badge is nice and crisp and sharp, and it doesn't disappear on the character because it's, you know, it's contrasting to the charcoal of the wing. And that's it. Let's just get to comparison mode. And well, that's just about it. Let's just compare this guy to a few other vehicle modes and be on our merry way. Something occurred to me, and I realized it after I got this guy into vehicle mode and I put him on the turntable. There is no 3mm port that has been pretty much present on just about every Transformers figure since, I think, Thrilling 30 or maybe even Combiner Wars. But I mean, at least the past 10 years, Just about every Transformer Hasbro has made has a 3mm port for display stands. And I didn't see one on this guy. Like, I even put it back in the robot mode. I don't see a 3mm port for a fight stand or anything. There's just nothing here. So I'm wondering if Hasbro is doing away with the 3mm port in the display stand options. It would be disappointing if they were, because it works, it's good for a display stand. So yeah, no 3mm port. I'm going to have to go back and see some of my other figures. I know Gamer Edition Ratchet has one, but they just stopped with this, or maybe just it wasn't in the design. I don't know. But yeah, thought I'd share. This is pretty much how he stacks up with some of the other Gamer Edition figures. And I just find it a little weird that he's actually bigger than Megatron. He's bigger than Megatron, but he's kind of smaller than Ratchet. And, okay, I mean, whatever. But they all look like they belong in this world, and I guess that's what's more important here. You know, there is a certain amount of cohesive language here with the Fall of Cybertron, War for Cybertron games, and you know, they're all pretty much fun vehicle modes in their own way. Comparing Skywarp's 3 Cybertronia modes, I gotta say the Tetrajet is still my favorite of the 3, seconded only by the Deluxe Class Generations version. Well, I find both their flight modes more proportionate in terms of wingspan and the overall design of each craft. You know, the Gamer Edition one just looks more like a rocket to me than it does a jet, and I'm sticking to that one. Of course, this review would not be complete if I didn't take the time to transform the Planet X Mars Starscream figure, and I'm not entirely sure I transformed it correctly. I think I messed up this part. I did it by memory, and it was an okay transformation. I mean, it was engaging. I just don't remember if I did this part right. I might have screwed that up. But I mean, here we have Gamer Edition Skywarp next to X Planet Mars, and again, I think I like this vehicle mode better, even though I mistransformed him a bit. But I get it. This is screen accurate. This is probably close to how it was in the game. I'm just not that huge of a fan. But regardless, I know I've said it before. This vehicle mode is solid. It is holding together well. You know, it passed the flop test. You know, it's a solid, mostly cohesive vehicle mode. And, but yeah, I mean, either way, both vehicle modes are kind of cool. Like like I said, I'm pretty firm in my decision to make this guy my official War for Cybertron Starscream, because he's bigger and brawnier, and maybe get Thundercracker to square off the team. And I might just keep it at that. But either way, I mean, you got some cool vehicle modes here, yeah. And these two do look good together, even though this guy, Starscream, is more at a masterpiece kind of engineering, and you know, he's at toy retail, which is fine. But yeah, so yeah, vehicle mode, Mars, X Planet Mars. All right, anyway. Well, that just about wraps up my video of Studio Series Gamer Edition Skywarp. I think the toy is built well, it stands well, it poses well. My biggest issue is I just don't like the weapons that it comes with, and even though the vehicle mode is also competently engineered, I just don't like the look of it. But that's just a me issue, not a Hasbro quality control issue. But it's a good figure, and if you like this design, then it's recommended. Anyway, I'm JimClassic. You have been watching Geekin' It, and, you know, tell me what you thought about Gamer Edition Skywarp. Like him? Hate him? Think he's great? Think he's bad? And of course, like, share, and subscribe. All that jazz. You know the drill. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.